In this video, I look at examples of bad calls made in pro tournaments over the years. It is very important to know how to properly determine if a shot is a foul or not, so we should learn from these past mistakes. Before I begin, I want to be clear that being a referee in a pro tournament is a tough job. They need to be able to call fouls live against the best players in the world, and slow motion instant replay isn't usually available. They also need to deal with players who might have disagreements, some of which can be emotionally charged. And they sometimes also need to keep the crowd under control.
He's just called for his extension, Jay.
That's enough, please. Reset the clock.
So we should cut referees some slack when they make occasional mistakes. First, let's review how to detect common types of fouls. The easiest foul to call is no ball reaching a cushion after cue ball contact with an object ball. Here's an example foul where nothing gets to a rail after ball contact. Double hits are the most common fouls in pool. They are easy to detect by watching the motion of the cue ball. If the cue ball goes forward immediately, like with any of these shots, it is due to a double hit, which is a foul. With a single hit, the cue ball would stop in place with a center ball hit, delay slightly before following forward with an above center hit, and draw back without going forward at all with a below center hit. Here's what a double hit foul looks like in slow motion. You can clearly see how the second hit forces the cue ball forward. Many people think elevating the back of the cue automatically avoids a double hit, but this is not the case, as with this draw shot. The shaft of the cue clearly pushes the cue ball forward after the initial hit. Although, the cue ball can go forward some with a legal hit of this type of shot. The way you detect a double hit foul with an angled shot like this is by watching if the cue ball heads in the expected tangent line direction off the object ball immediately after the hit, like these shots. If the cue ball goes forward of the tangent line immediately, the shot is a foul, like these examples. You cannot necessarily see or hear the double hit directly, but the double hit foul is obvious based on the motion of the cue ball. Another type of foul is a wrong ball first hit. Here are two good examples showing how you can easily detect these fouls by knowing how the cue ball or object balls should move with both legal and illegal hits. If I hit the 8 first, the cue ball will come off the tangent line of the 13 and head this way. And if I instead hit the 13 first, which would be a foul, the cue ball would come off the tangent line of the 8 in this direction. Here, I again need to barely miss the 13 to pocket the 8. If I hit the 8 first, the cue ball will come off the tangent line and send the 13 this way. And if I hit the 13 first, it will head this way instead. Here's a good hit. And here's a foul. If you want to learn more about how to both detect and avoid fouls in pool, see the videos and info at the Fouls resource page linked in the video description. Now let's look at some bad double hit foul calls from pro tournaments. The first is from a 2001 Accustats 8-ball match between Efren Reyes and Roger Griffiths. Roger made a good shot on the 11, but left himself a little close to his work on the 15. He decided to attempt to bank the ball.
That's a foul.
It's not a foul.
Was this a good hit? The ref called it good. The commentators initially had some disagreement, but in the end, they decided the ref made the right call. If you want to listen to the full commentary on this shot, which lasted for about 4 minutes, visit the link in the video description. Well, regardless of what the ref and commentators said, this was a blatant double hit foul, and the shot should have been called bad. The double hit is totally obvious from the motion of the cue ball. With a legal single hit, the cue ball would have started in the tangent line direction, but the cue ball instead went well forward of this line due to the double hit. Here's an example of what the action of this sort of shot should look like. Again, this shot was clearly a double hit foul. Here's another example from a 2021 US Open 9-ball match between Josh Filler and Joe Blyler. Joe pocketed the 3 on a two-way shot, but left the cue ball almost frozen to the 1. You can see the 1 ball roll back slightly from the cue ball, so there is a small gap between the balls, as verified by both the ref and Joe. Was this a good hit? The ref called it good. Well, this shot was obviously a foul. The cue ball went forward immediately, which could only happen with a double hit. With a legal below-center hit like this, the cue ball would have drawn back immediately. Again, this shot was clearly a double hit foul. Here's another example from a 2016 US Bar Table 8-ball championship match between Shane Van Boening and Manny Perez. With the table open after the break, Manny plays a safety by almost freezing the cue ball to the 10, but there is a small gap between the balls. Shane decides to elevate with an almost vertical cue to attempt to avoid a double hit while pocketing the 10. Was that a good hit? The ref called it good. Well, as with the previous example, this shot was obviously a foul. The cue ball went forward immediately before drawing back, which could happen only with a double hit. With a clean hit on this shot, the cue ball would have come off the tangent line of the 10 into the 14, and the cue ball would have drawn back without going forward very much at all, if any. Again, with a single hit on a shot like this, the cue ball would draw back without going forward at all, like this. Now let's look at a classic wrong ball first call. This is from a 1988 Brunswick World Open match between Keith McCreadie and Efren Reyes. Efren pocketed a combo but hit it too softly, leaving the 3 too close to the 5. He decided to carom off the 3 to attempt to pocket the 5.
He played the 5.
He missed the 5, but was this a foul with the cue ball hitting the 5 instead of the 3 first? The ref thought Efren hit the 5 first and called a foul. This was a bad call. When there is no conclusive proof of a foul should not be called, with the benefit of the doubt going to the shooter. If Efren had hit the 5 first, the cue ball would have caromed off the 3 in the tangent line direction. The cue ball did not head anywhere near this path. Instead, the cue ball came off the tangent line of the 5 in this direction, which is consistent with a good hit on the 3 first. Again, there is no evidence of a foul here, even when advancing the video frame by frame. Efren knew immediately this call was bad, but Keith was happy with the outcome.
He played the 5. What he did. No. Okay. Okay, referee called the foul. Okay, he said he hit the 5
Can't help it.
first.
That's what the ref called.
Now let's look at a classic call dealing with driving a ball to a rail after contact. This is from the famous 1997 Color of Money match between Efren Reyes and Earl Strickland. Earl hit the 5 behind the 6 for a safety, and Efren was kicking at the 5, attempting to leave Earl bad in return. Was this a good hit? The shot was obviously good, but Earl decides to cause trouble, claiming the shot might have been a foul.
Well, we can always go to the videotape if that's...
This wasn't a very classy move because the shot was obviously good with the cue ball hitting the 5 first and then the cushion. Rightfully, the shot was called good after the discussion, but Earl continued to pout anyway.
Don't worry about it. What? We'll take this round. Don't worry about it.
If you know of any other pro tournament examples where bad calls were made, please post timestamp video links in the comments below. And again, if you want to learn more about how to both detect and avoid fouls in pool, see the videos and info at the Fouls resource page linked in the video description. And if you want to test your knowledge and understanding of pool rules, take the online quiz also linked in the video description. Have fun with the quiz, and good luck with your game from Dr. Dave.